Ukrainian special forces have struck 2 Russian boats in Black Sea in Russian-annexed Crimea Peninsula. The operation was carried out by Prizrak unit under Main Intelligence Directorate of Ukraine, known as HUR, who successfully evaded Russian anti-aircraft missiles deployed in the area. The group also struck TAR-M2 anti-aircraft missile system in Crimea. The destroyed Russian boats are 02510 BK-16 high-speed boat and Raptor boat. A video of the assault operation has been shared in Ukrainian military's Telegram channel. The video shows the moment of the drone strike launched during night time. Russian Black Sea Fleet and other military equipment stationed in occupied Crimea Peninsula are frequent subjects of Ukraine's drone and artillery attacks. A large number of Russian military equipment, including a ship and helicopter, was destroyed in the attack carried out by Prizrak Group last week.
Operation Pipe, carried out by Russian troops in March in the Kursk region, became another illustration of chaos, lies, and indifference to their own soldiers. As military expert Alexander Kovalenko notes, hundreds of participants in the suicidal assault died and remained nameless, and random people and even bloggers received awards. More than 3 weeks have passed since the so-called Operation Potok, better known by the mocking name of Truba, but the Kremlin has not yet arranged any award ceremonies for the heroes of the special operation. And there are good reasons for this. Instead of triumph, there has been failure. Instead of heroism, there have been losses hushed up by the command. The operation consisted of the Russian command sending 600 to 800 attack aircraft to liberate the city of Sudza in the Kursk region through a 15-kilometer pipeline. Yes, you heard right. The soldiers were literally driven into the pipe. According to Kovalenko, the day after Gerasimov reported to Putin about the heroic operation, it turned out that only 112 people had been awarded. This is despite the fact that the number of participants, according to official data, exceeded 600 and according to unofficial data, up to 800. 112 awarded and 800 people who crawled 15 kilometers through the pipe. This is a discrepancy because most of these people remained there or were simply written off, Kovalenko emphasized. According to the expert, initially Russian commander Lapin was offered to conduct a landing from Mi-8 helicopters under the cover of Mi-28N. This would have taken 2 to 3 minutes and would have allowed the task to be completed with minimal losses. However, the general refused. He did not want to risk the equipment, deciding that it was easier to drive hundreds of people into a pipe, literally. The result was a failure of the operation and the death of dozens, if not hundreds, of soldiers who are now forgotten. Many of them will become permanently crippled as their lungs suffered severe damage in the form of burns after inhaling air with chemical impurities. But even with those who were awarded, not everything is clean. One of those who received the award for participation in the operation is blogger Roman Alekhine, who signed a contract on the eve of the operation and immediately terminated it. At the same time, the real participants, in all likelihood, were simply forgotten or left in the pipe. This is a farce and a slap in the face to those who actually participated in the operation. But what's surprising if this entire special operation was built on deception and show from the very beginning? Kovalenko sums up. Operation Pipe in the Kursk region, as Kovalenko notes, became yet another manifestation of the deep degradation of Russian military structures. Instead of military logic, senseless victims; instead of professionalism, a political showcase; instead of victory, silence and fear of the truth. European countries plan to send a military team to Ukraine in the coming weeks to determine the number of peacekeeping troops needed and where they will be deployed. They will also consult with Ukraine on how to strengthen its army to protect the future front line. Europe's focus is shifting to air and naval forces, the Washington Post reports. Military leaders point to the limits of large-scale ground deployments, while other countries offer their capabilities to patrol Ukrainian airspace or the Black Sea. Military planners from dozens of countries are offering to help with everything from logistics and command to the deployment of forces on land, in the air and at sea, said British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Yet, despite lengthy negotiations, European leaders have yet to make a public commitment, as doubts remain about whether the United States is interested in supporting such an initiative. In addition, some countries are skeptical about deploying troops without a US promise to intervene in the event of a Russian attack, while still hoping for US support in the form of air defense, intelligence, and heavy air power. At the same time, French President Emmanuel Macron said that Trump does not rule out US support and that all efforts are being made in complete harmony with American partners who are interested in this approach and have said that they like it. The ceasefire would be monitored by satellite surveillance, UN peacekeepers, or other observers, including countries Russia considers neutral. Officials said the task would not be left to European forces, which could be stationed around nuclear facilities, military bases or government buildings. Media reported earlier that the British and French peacekeeper plan in Ukraine is collapsing without US support. After hours of negotiations, no country has made a public commitment to send troops. In addition, the Russian Federation has spoken out about sending peacekeepers. The Kremlin believes that this will allegedly drag out the conflict. According to Russian Senator Grigory Karasin, the meeting of the American and Russian delegations in Riyadh was constructive and calm, but not very productive. The senator noted that the Russian Federation and the United States discussed mechanisms for monitoring the implementation of the Black Sea Initiative in case it is renewed. He shared that the parties also discussed connecting some Russian banks to SWIFT. However, the exact dates have not yet been approved. At the meeting with the US, the Russian Federation's access to ports for the export of agricultural products and the connection of Roselkar's bank to SWIFT were discussed. The Americans took this calmly, the senator assured.